Did the judges get it right? Beterbiev v Bivol. I personally don't think so. I had Dimitry Bivol winning that fight by 2 rounds, 2 to 3 rounds. Thoroughly enjoyed the fight. It's absolutely fantastic to see the best fighting the best. I think ultimately it comes down to the money who's made that fight happen. I heard that both fighters got 10 million each, and rightly so. They deserve it. 2 phenomenal fighters, and it was an elite fight from round 1 to round 12. And I get that there's still people saying that the right man won, that Beterbiev won, because he was forcing the fight. I personally like the hitting and not getting it in, the boxing and moves. Because let's look at the start. Dimitry Bivol come out in those first couple of rounds, and for me, in my opinion, he was winning those rounds on his jab. He was moving in and out of range, and his jab was solid. It was landing, and then he was making Beterbiev miss. And the shots that were landed were blocked on the gloves. And I felt like that pattern sort of went on right up until the midway point in fight, rounds 1 to 6. I felt sort of going similarly. Bivol even started, he started to let some combinations go. He was 2-phase attacking, he was stepping in, jabbing, coming out, straight back in with a 1-2 or a 1-2-3. And it looked flashy, it looked clinical, it looked clean. And I thought, for them reasons, such clean, clinical punches were giving him the round. That's what stood out to me if I was a judge. Whereas Beterbiev's work, I mean, it was going forward, yeah, he was going the forward, but that doesn't win fights. Even though he was throwing the punches, he was landing them on the arms and gloves, the shots were blocked to the head. I don't think that wins fights. Some people are like, yeah, but he threw more. The point of boxing is to hit the target. Your target is the head and the front part of the torso. That's the scoring, supposed to be the scoring part of the body. I didn't realise, people get it mixed up that just because you throw a punch and hit somebody's gloves, that's a scoring shot. That's not a scoring shot, or it certainly shouldn't be being seen as a scoring shot. Round 6 to round 8, and from round 6 to round 12, that's when Beterbiev did start landing more. He started getting through with more. He started getting some body shots in there. And the man's an absolute beast. His punches look pretty effortless. He doesn't look like he's really loaded up to put power in. It shows you, what kind of power that the man possesses. He's an unbelievable athlete. Some of the training footage I've seen him do, everybody's seen him do the press-ups, with the wrist strength. Phenomenal athlete. Beterbiev did close the fight, especially rounds 11 and 12. I definitely give him them rounds. He really did put it on Dimitry Bivol, who, to be fair, he took some brilliant shots, who, as we've seen, nobody else has been able to take them and see out the final bell. That was the first time that Beterbiev has gone the distance. So, credit to Bivol's chin and his toughness. He did make a bit of his left eye, he made a mess of his left eye, but he managed to finish the fight on his feet. Beterbiev did win those final 2 rounds, but in my opinion, he'd done enough in the previous 10 rounds to be 2 rounds up. And for me, I gave him the fight. The judge that scored it, was it 116, 112, giving Bivol 4 rounds? That is just absolutely ludicrous. Maybe one of the judges who judged me against George Kambosos, who only gave me 3 rounds in that fight. But that kind of stuff needs to stop, and it needs investigating, and they need to be held accountable for that. I get it was a very close fight, but that scorecard, when there's stuff like that, when there's no point in Bivol turning up, it's ridiculous and it stinks. Very good fight. There's talk about the rematch happening. Turki Al-Sheikh says he wants to make the rematch. I think the fans want to see it again. A proper good scrap between 2 proper good boxers. I really hope that they do get the rematch on. And I think if it happened again, I think Bivol would come through it and, make sure that he gets his hand raised next time. But let me know in comments who you thought won, what your scores were. Yeah, and who you think would win in a rematch?